Have you ever noticed how some women never show interest in obvious ways? No flirting, no compliments, no dramatic gestures. Instead, they watch, they listen, they observe quietly. And when you're an older man, especially over 45 or 50, women don't behave around you the same way they do with younger men. They're more careful, more selective, and far more subtle. They don't want to look needy. They don't want to seem impulsive, and they definitely don't want to risk embarrassment or rejection. So instead of showing interest directly, they ask questions, very specific questions. And here's what most men never realize. When a woman feels drawn to an older man, she almost always tests him with two precise questions. They sound casual, they feel harmless, but psychologically, they mean everything. Before we break them down, do me a quick favor. Tap the like button and leave a comment if you've ever realized too late that a woman was interested in you. Your engagement helps this message reach men who truly need it. 1. Why do older men misinterpret signals? Many men over 50 quietly believe they faded into the background. They assume attraction belongs to youth. That desire fades with age. That women no longer notice them the way they once did. That belief is not only wrong, it's limiting. In reality, many mature men become more attractive with time. They carry calm instead of urgency, confidence instead of noise, presence instead of performance. The issue isn't women. The issue is perception. Men often assume she's just being polite, when in truth she's offering a subtle invitation, because women rarely express interest in obvious ways. They don't rush. They don't announce desire. They observe. They test emotional steadiness. They sense presence. They measure awareness. Female psychology works quietly beneath the surface. And when a woman begins to view an older man as someone she can trust, respect, and feel at ease with, her energy shifts. What was casual becomes intentional. What was light becomes focused curiosity. She begins asking questions, not to gather information, but to feel alignment. Through these questions, she's quietly trying to understand three things. Is this man emotionally grounded or easily shaken? Does his life have space or is it emotionally closed? And most importantly, does he notice what's unfolding between us? Those questions aren't random. They are signals. And when you understand them, everything changes too. Why women use questions instead of direct signals. Here's the psychological truth most men never realize. Men over 50 were raised in a world where communication was straightforward. Interest was obvious. Intentions were spoken without hesitation. But women today, including emotionally mature women, express attraction in a very different way. They don't announce it. They don't confess it. They don't say, "I'm interested," or "I want to get closer." Instead, they observe. They explore through conversation. They ask questions, not out of curiosity, but for emotional safety. Because there's a quiet fear many women carry, especially around older men. If she shows interest too clearly, she worries it might be misunderstood or that she'll appear emotionally exposed before she feels safe. So she hides attraction inside curiosity. She wraps interest in questions. She tests without revealing, and here's what most men don't see. If you miss that moment, she rarely offers it again. Women almost never open the same emotional door twice. 3. How women test awareness. Think of it this way. When a man feels drawn to someone, he usually responds with action. He offers help. He provides direction. He steps forward through behavior. But when a woman feels drawn to someone, she moves differently. She offers a question. For a woman, questions are not small talk. They are invitations. They are her way of creating connection without exposing herself too quickly. Each question is an emotional bridge. She places it carefully and waits, not to hear the answer, but to observe how you answer. Do you step forward with calm awareness, or do you miss the moment entirely? These questions are never about facts or information. They are about energy. She's silently asking herself, is he calm in himself? Is he emotionally open or guarded? Does he feel steady and grounded? Does he stand comfortably in who he is? Or does he hide behind politeness and distance? This is how women explore closeness with mature men, not through obvious signals, not through direct statements, but through carefully chosen questions. And here's what matters most. Only two questions appear again and again when a woman is gently testing whether emotional closeness with an older man feels safe, natural, and worth moving toward. 4. The first question, emotional availability. The first question she asks tests availability, not your schedule, not your free time, your openness. The question usually sounds like this: do you spend a lot of time alone? She may phrase it differently. Do you usually keep to yourself? You seem like someone who enjoys solitude. Are you seeing anyone or mostly doing your own thing? This question is never about loneliness. It's about access. She's quietly asking, is there room for me in his life? Is he emotionally open or closed behind routine? Would stepping closer feel welcomed or resisted? Most men answer too literally. Yes, I'm alone a lot. Not really. It depends. A grounded man hears the subtext. A balanced response communicates openness without neediness. For example, I value my space, but I'm always open to good company. Or I enjoy my routines, but I'm open to something meaningful. That tone feels safe. It communicates strength without emotional walls. And when a woman feels that openness, something shifts. She moves to the second question. 5. The second question, inner direction. Here's the second question, and it's a profound one. This question isn't about finding out your hobbies. It's about examining your inner compass. You might ask it simply, what are you up to these days? Or, what's been on your mind lately? Perhaps even, where do you feel you're headed right now? Don't be fooled by the simplicity of the phrasing. This isn't a casual conversation. This is a silent assessment. She's sensing or almost sensing whether your life has purpose, momentum, and a solid foundation. Women don't open up emotionally to men who drift along with the flow. They open up to men who are grounded in something real. At the heart of her question, she's asking herself, does this man know who he is? Is he grounded in his life? Is he moving consciously and deliberately? Or is he simply reacting to the world? Listen carefully. It's not the specifics of your answer that matter, but your clarity. You don't need to know everything perfectly, nor a flawless life plan. What you do need is mindfulness and a firm, honest sense of your own path. Here's a truth men rarely grasp. Women aren't looking for perfection. They're drawn to direction. It's that quiet confidence that says, I'm building something. I'm moving toward a goal. That's what makes a man attractive, and that's what builds real charisma. 6. Why these questions matter so deeply. Here's a harsh truth most men never hear. When a man reaches his 50s or 60s, many women implicitly assume his inner world is complete. Ready? Finished. Her hesitation isn't due to disinterest, but rather because she's asking herself a deeper, quieter question. If I enter his life, will I be entering a closed room already? She's not seeking to be an addition, a footnote, a fleeting thought. These two questions, what are you focused on and what are you looking for, aren't just conversation. They're her gentle, urgent way of listening for three things. Is there emotional space here for me? Is this man still emotionally alive? Still growing? Still feeling? Is he moving forward with purpose? Or is he simply wasting his time? If you take these questions lightly and answer them casually, you've missed the moment completely. And here's the problem. Once the silent invitation fades, most women don't return. They don't ask again. They simply withdraw. Because building a future romantic relationship isn't negotiated, it's felt. And if you don't feel it in your words, she'll quietly stop looking for it in your eyes. 7. The biggest mistake older men make. Here's the most common and costly mistake men make at this stage of life. They expect attraction to be obvious, to announce itself loudly like it might have in younger years. It doesn't, and especially not with a woman of depth, of maturity, a woman who values dignity and emotional safety above cheap thrills. At this level, attraction is quiet. It's respectful. It moves in whispers, not shouts. She isn't leaning forward to test your slick lines or your polished charm. She's leaning in subtly to test something far more important. Your awareness, your ability to hear what's being said beneath the words, to sense the space between sentences, to understand that her question about your direction isn't an interview. It's an invitation into her world. This awareness, this emotional perception is the single greatest divider between men. On one side, men who walk away confused, wondering why didn't she show more interest. On the other, men who naturally, almost effortlessly, attract a calm, sustained, deeply rooted interest. The kind of respect that doesn't fade after a conversation, but grows because she isn't looking to be swept off her feet. She's looking for the man who makes her feel safe to land. And that safety is built not by grand gestures, but by quiet, consistent, perceptive understanding. That's where real connection begins. So now you know when she asks, "What are you focused on?" or "What are you looking for?" She's not just having a casual conversation. She's checking for direction, depth, and emotional readiness. Your answer doesn't have to be perfect, but it should be clear, purposeful, and logical. This is how a man turns quiet interest into a lasting relationship. If this resonates with you, you're in the right place. Here at The Quiet Man, we unpack the unwritten rules of attraction, presence, and mature masculinity. If you found this helpful, subscribe and turn on notifications for our weekly insights. Leave a comment below. Have you noticed these questions in your conversations? What's your experience? Share this video with a man who needs to hear this message. Remember, power isn't always loud. Sometimes it's the clarity of your direction and the quiet confidence of your presence. Stay strong. See you in the next video.